Sir Richard Branson has a great quote, especially for buy here, pay here dealers. Richard says, never take your eyes off the cash flow because it's the lifeblood of our business. Here's a great quote by Jack Welch. If I had to run a company on 3 measures, those measures would be customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and cash flow. Hey, this is Jay Rose with Total Dealer Training. And if you want to live your lifestyle guaranteed, definitely make sure that you take notes and share this with others that are looking to take their career and their financial success to the next level. Let's talk about collections. Collections has changed a lot since I first started in 1989 working with collection customers. The biggest difference that I see that's really changed and needs to change in your culture or philosophy working for customers, if you're still doing this, is it used to always be about the transaction. It was always managing the department, managing your portfolio, managing your customers like they're just a number. How many notes you have? How many accounts do you have? And again, on the surface, that's great. You certainly need to look at reports, and we certainly need to look at activities and what we do and how we do it to make sure that our team and our collections department is being efficient. But the biggest difference is when you treat a customer as a transaction, they actually pick up on it, they know it, they can tell it, and it really doesn't foster a great relationship long-term with that dealer. Now, in the old days, in the 80s, 90s, people were different. People actually responded differently. I remember customers in the late 80s, early 90s, they actually used to feel guilty about being, 30 days late on a Sears card. They'd have their typical bad credit used to be, well, you're 1 or 2 times late on your Fingerhut card. Or you occasionally had that person that they didn't realize that when they broke up with their girlfriend, they still had to pay Kay Jewelers, for the ring. That used to be like bad credit. Nowadays, obviously a lot's changed, especially about 10 years ago, I noticed a huge difference in the culture of America, but also with our buy here, pay here, or poor credit customers, their whole attitudes changed. It was like they developed a sense of entitlement, like what you gonna do for me, even though I have a 480 credit score, I got 2 repos, I don't pay anybody, and technically you shouldn't even give me money or a car. But unfortunately, around that time, it was, we had a bad economy. I remember 2009 really took out a lot of businesses. It affected almost everyone in the world. And it was all driven by making poor choices in underwriting. Of course, in the example I'm giving, and you can watch a great movie called The Big Short, talks all about this. It was underwriting mortgages, subprime mortgages. Well, we're in the high-risk lending business as well. So you'd think that some of us would actually, or the industry would, or subprime business would pay attention to say, let's not do that again since it lost billions of dollars. Unfortunately, a lot of subprime banks continue to do that, but in the automotive space. So as they're getting almost free money with the stimulus bailout in 2009 and 10, pretty much it was a free-for-all in making sure that anybody who fogged a mirror could pretty much get approved. Now, how did that affect us in buy here, pay here? Well, it was pretty easy. We got desperate. Just plain and simple, the subprimes, instead of staying in their nice little niche just below the prime credit unions and banks, they dipped down and were taking our top half of our traditional buy here, pay here customer. So that left the buy here, pay here dealer feeling it and needing to deliver or sell X amount of cars to stay in their growth covenant, or just to stay in business, or just to stay, even what they're used to. So I saw a lot of dealers, unfortunately, start dipping down, taking 200, 300, 500 down. Customers with bad attitudes, they started getting needy as an industry. I started hearing, finance specialists acting like salespeople and doing, we'll do anything to earn your business. Don't worry, we'll do anything to sell your car. And as we all know, when you start acting needy with a poor credit customer, they got World Series of Poker credit skills. and also negotiating skills. So they started taking advantage of the neediness in the buy here, pay here industry. All of a sudden, when they used to feel bad about having bad credit, they started walking around with kind of a swagger, kind of basically, thinking like, what you got for me? I get 500 down. Yeah, I only have 2 or 3 repos. The last guy down the street, they didn't seem to mind. So we kind of brought on this problem due to a increased competition that started in '09, and unfortunately has kind of lingered, and a lot of it, those bad habits, hadn't really changed. So with that said, it's not that the collectors did anything different per se. They just needed to change the way that they work with the customers. Obviously, the number one thing is change the way that you're underwriting, and you shouldn't be hiring salespeople from the new car business. You should be hiring former collectors and bankers and people that have worked with their customers, that are empathetic, but they don't act needy. They're not trying to sell something. We're trying to underwrite a customer, find out who's real, who has verifiable income, and then, of course, obviously, you want to make sure that you have the customer so they appreciate your program. Then we just need to make sure that we focus on, making sure they're successful, that they can afford the program, the short-term program, advanced equity, and also make sure that they know how to handle if there's a mechanical problem. So a lot of times what's happened is the collector, or as I call them, account manager's job, even got harder. So instead of the customer being thankful, appreciative on delivery, thanks for giving me a second chance, I'll do anything to make sure that I keep this vehicle, they were coming in with an attitude, a complaint about the car. Probably salespeople, once they're needy everywhere. They start telling the customers, oh, don't worry, they'll work with you if something comes up in your life, on payment extensions. They tell the customer that, oh, they'll cover everything, they have to keep the car going. And I know you know this if you're in the payment center for any length of time. So number one, you may not be able to directly influence your general manager or your branch manager on the front end side. You may call it sales, I call it underwriting, but you need to start, let me know, I can come in and help you fix the front. But in the meantime, you're a goalie, like in the analogy in sports, you're a goalie that's getting a lot more shots, you have to be more prepared, and you have to come in with a different mindset. If you're looking to increase sales, lower your repossessions, and increase your profits this year, look no further than Collateral Protection from CP Insurance Associates. They were the #1 and first collateral protection approved in Texas. And I have them in my dealerships and I see the results. So if you want the best in service, in claims payments, and also making sure that you increase your profitability to help you sell more cars, give Bill Murphy a call, the number below. When we look at how we used to communicate with customers in the past, it was based on what's more time effective. Most portfolio managers, including me, I was always taught, make sure you manage by the numbers, which is you look at your portfolio, you look at how many delinquencies are there for the day, you're looking at your telephony report, how many of your account managers, how many calls have you made today, how many attempts, how many contacts, what's the average call time, looking at recency and what percentage of recency to contractually current they are. All those things are important, but the one thing that we're missing is making sure that, do they still like us? We just put a ring on this customer for 3 years and we're treating them like what? Like just a number. So that's where, watching this and dealing with most of the upset customers and trying to save a deal, I started realizing that we needed to change our approach. And the #1 thing, just as Total Dealer Training does in our online training, our workshops, or in dealership, is we make sure that we change the perception. No longer should it be a salesperson, it should be a trusted finance specialist. Just like you go to a mortgage broker. Even though they're getting a commission, it doesn't feel like their commission breath's coming over. The other person that they need to like and trust and respect is the account manager. Don't use the word collector. It's as bad as sales. It makes people just conjure up this image of, oh my God, how can you live with yourself? You repoed my uncle's car. So no, I'm an account, how I introduce myself, I'm an account manager. I'm assigned to your account. I'll be working with you over the next 3 years until graduation day when you get your title. And it's pretty exciting. It's a short-term program. It's not like the Krispy Kreme diet, where they have a 7-8 year financing with new cars. This is going to get you a title and equity in 3 years or less. So it's like PX90. We're going to get you in shape and it's going to be fast. So we want to make sure we set up that relationship where instead of the old way, which is the collector was the decision maker with the customer, and they were barking at the customer, sounding like a boss, a drill sergeant, you need to pay us, you signed a document, it's, otherwise I'll pick up your car. They use the word I and we, and then you can't do that anymore. When you say I, you become the decision maker, the negotiator. And if they don't like the answer, guess what happens? Yeah, they stop picking up the phone. And you tell me, because I'm sure it's no different everywhere I've worked in the country, if the notes in your queue say left message, left message, left message, left message, no contact, what's usually going to happen? Yeah, it's called, you put it out for repo, and we have an $8,000 charge off. But go to the root of the problem. It's not refuse to pay. You can't even get them on the phone. The first rule in negotiation or in hostage negotiation, because that's really what you're dealing with, is to get the person on the phone. So then you can go through some options. Of course, people who hold up places and they want to negotiate, of course they're emotional. So you can't be. You need to make sure that you manage your emotions. You want to make sure you use your voice tone inflection, go over the different options, make sure they feel comfortable that, hey, I'm just representing you. I'm not the decision maker, but I can certainly give you those options in probably the best way so you can be happy with those solutions, okay? Great. They never say they're the ultimate decision maker. You need to set it up that there's a corporate, just like the judge in a court of law, and a lot of our customers, whether we like it or not, they've been to court a few times. They understand that there's a good cop, bad cop. There's a prosecuting attorney and a defense attorney. And your job as an account manager, formerly known as collector, is to be their defense attorney, maybe parole officer, if that analogy works for you, or your customer. And you need to be the one that goes over the different options with them. So number one, focus on the relationship, not the transaction. Second thing, make sure you manage your role. Your role should not be you're the decision maker and that's it. It's my way or the highway. That worked 15, 20 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. Why? Not your fault. Those techniques work for me. But as soon as the car industry, the buy here, pay here industry started getting needy, the customers started getting more options. Now with $1,000 or sometimes even $500, they don't want to listen to you. You're not even nice. They're just going to throw the keys at you, come pick it up, or they'll beat it up and then you can pick it up. And they're going down the street and somebody will give them a loan, despite how many repossessions they've had. So it's kind of like the analogy of you're a fisher person and you're trying to reel in a 10-pound fish with a 5-pound test line. That means that either pole or line's going to snap if you don't use the right hook and the right techniques. If it's pulling too hard and the pole's bending, you need to let up a little bit. Same thing happens in conversations. If they're getting emotional, don't mirror their bad emotions. You need to stay nice and relaxed. Listen to them. Take notes. Use those notes back with the customer in a good way to guide them to what you want to do, which hopefully is pay the full payment due today, or most of the payment, or some of the payment, but definitely not none of the payment. Or if you do set up a promise to pay, or a set, whatever you call it, make sure you lock it in and make sure that they can afford it and you know that they're getting money when they set that promise to pay. So these are all little tweaks. It sounds easy, but it makes a huge difference. But it's changing your behavior in your culture, in your mindset. You need to say, hey, it's not up to me, but let me just let you know I'm like your defense attorney. I'm going to go with corporate and submit your request for a payment extension or a deferral. But I do know, as I'm writing this request out, I have to let them know that what's happened to you financially, what's impacted you negatively that you can't make this payment. And that needs to be verified. So the good news is with cell phones, they can take a picture of their previous paycheck that was a full paycheck. They can take a picture of the current one that shows their story said that they lost some hours. There's always somebody in a hospital that they had to go visit. Doesn't mean that you got to be off work for a week just because someone's in the hospital. But here and there, the key is that you're not going to be confrontational. You're not going to challenge the customer and say, oh yeah, really? Well, you need to prove that story to me. I need to see the verification. Don't do that. You need to say, I understand. I'm so sorry that your putty cat was up in the tree, but I do know I'm going to send this in that they just need some type of verification. I'm sure you have a copy of the fire department that came to rescue your cat from the tree. Whatever the story is, get it to verify, but not for you, but just for corporate, just like a judge would, the way an attorney speaks on your behalf. No problem. Wish me luck. I'm going to submit this and try to get you the best outcome and the best choices. The key is never say I or we when it comes to something that they want to negotiate with, which is usually the amount they're paying and when they're paying. Same thing applies when it comes to repairs. They only have two objections. Who's paying for it and who's going to pay for me to get back and forth to work, because this is my only car I have for my whole family. Yeah, I know. If you didn't realize that everybody in the family is driving your car. So change your role in the perception to the customer. You have to be the good cop if you want them to call you or if you want them to pick up the phone when you call them. But if you don't manage that role, you're just going to keep getting left messages and increased repos. The other thing is when you dial customers, effective communication is obviously the most effective is in person. That's not practical. You may open up Monday with 80 delinquent accounts. You got to get through them and then follow up with them. The old way of doing it is using a robo-dialer, just predictive dialer, whatever it is. It just hammers the customer throughout the day. Now, obviously, because of the different federal laws that have changed, we can only make one contact a day. So the thing is, though, don't rely on the computer. Make a phone call. Number one, have the relationship. Number two, make it so you're fun. You don't sound like a traditional collector. You don't want to come across, if you leave a message and say, Mr. Smith, this is Jay Rose at TDT Finance. It's really important that you call me right away. And, dude, you sound like 9 other people they owe money to. You want to be fun. Hey, by the way, hey, Craig, this is Jay at TDT. I get some great news. Give me a quick call. All right, what's the great news? Yeah, that I get you on the phone, that's the great news. Then you can talk about their account. So make sure your voice tone inflection has a little range in it. Make sure that you sound fun. Create a hook so they can call you back. You only have 7% of your effectiveness working for you if you only text or email them. Now, of course, doing a text blast is maybe time effective, but it's not relationship effective. So always try to get people on the phone. And then if you have to, have them come in and talk to you in person. So, and then also what you say is important. Use better words. In our online training or workshops, we give different ways to get the customer to like you, to see you in a different light, to want to talk to you, to literally their life is like a country song, everything went bad, and they just can't wait to call you to tell you all about how bad it is. So if they call you, even if they didn't improve their financial situation, you won because now they trust you, they like you enough to call you. They're not calling every other collector, but you as the account manager, as their financial fitness coach. Have fun with it. Say that to a customer and see if you can't even stop laughing. Yeah, I'm your financial fitness coach. My only goal is to graduate with you, be there when you're holding the title, and we're taking a picture together. Go into every relationship like that. How often do I call customers? Depends. Depends on how they're paying us. If they make their promise to pay us. If I give them respect in the relationship, they'll give it back. If I don't, and just hammer them every day, day 1, call this. Day 2, do this. Day 3, do this. Call their references, beat them up, embarrass them. Oh no, you blow up all their references. You come in with a mindset that I'm going to embarrass you just so you can make a payment. Oh, you'll get a payment or 2 out of them. But trust me, the second something better comes along, they're out of there. Just like any other abusive relationship. So again, I'm not being mean. I'm saying is I used to use the old techniques just like you. They just stopped working. So if you want the most effective ways to get your customers to pay you more often, the dealerships I work with, the buy here, pay here portfolios, collection departments, they're running minimum 90 to 95% contractually current. And no, we didn't get there from actually repoing more cars. Our repos are cut by 30 to 40%. We did it with hard work and better techniques in the collection and payment process. So make sure that you understand that you got to do some things differently if you want better results. So give us a call the number below. If you like this video, forward it to some other people who are dealing with the challenges you are too. And this way, you can live your lifestyle guaranteed as well. Total Dealer Training trains and coaches dealership personnel through online, in-dealership, and live workshops. We educate, motivate, and develop the skills of your team to improve results while allowing them to be the best possible versions of themselves. If you want more information about our services, visit our totaldealertraining.com website, or you can call me directly at 904-955-7666. We can customize a training solution that'll meet your dealership needs. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, or comment so you can be notified when future videos are released.